The Weekly Warm Pipe.
Are you ready, Jay?
I'll tell you what we're gonna do, brother. We're gonna come down here and we're gonna talk about Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage.
It's the cream of the crop.
That's probably so loud, and I probably just destroyed everyone's
everyone's ears.
I'm sorry.
So shout out to Kobe. He called in last week and he said we should do a wrestling episode. Now I know a little bit about wrestling. Maybe Jay probably knows a little less than me.
What I just told you is all I know.
Perfect. So we did want to bring in someone else that I would say expertise in the wrestling field is our buddy David Apuzzo jumping in.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Dave?
How you doing?
We couldn't do this episode without you, definitely.
My best wrestling intro impression.
Dave's
Jay,
got some of the...
Jay, do it again.
Oh yeah, brother. It's me, the Hulkster, and I'm gonna go ham on ya.
There you go.
Nice. So yeah, I figured we'd try to get into the main stuff, right? The matches, wrestlers we know, toys, video games, maybe movies that some of the wrestlers are in. And of course, I asked you guys questions or give us questions, so we'll jump to our social media as well. And I did see Colby left another voicemail he wanted to call in, so we'll get to that as well. Where to start off?
I mean, like, I guess you got to go back to the 80s because we're all 80s kids. Who are some of the wrestlers you remember best from your childhood?
Obviously, I mean, the main ones: Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Legion of Doom. Definitely remember those. Beefcake, was it Butcher the Beefcake Barber? What am I butchering the name?
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Yes.
Hacksaw
Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
What about
Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
Junkyard Dog?
Junkyard Dog, yeah. He was one of my favorites.
Who were the two brothers that always wore like the spikes and they kind of, what were those guys? Am I confusing?
Well, yeah, you're two different
Is that
teams.
Bam Bam Bigelow?
The one with the spikes was Legion of Doom.
Right.
It was Ultimate Warrior, maybe.
Yeah, and then these ones are the Bushwhackers.
The Bushwhackers, that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, kind of like the shaved heads.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, Jay, did you watch any of like the pay-per-views back in the day? I feel like that was a big thing.
So I grew up not having cable, so no, I didn't watch any pay-per-views. The only thing I remember, I think it was Christmas of 1988. I got a Thrasher magazine and some kind of a wrestling magazine for Christmas. I loved skateboarding, so Thrasher makes sense, but I have no idea why I got a wrestling magazine. I guess my parents just thought I needed one.
They're like boy stuff, right? Boys
The
like
only
wrestling.
thing I remember from the magazine, it was whatever the popular wrestling magazine in 1988 was.
Okay.
But there was a piece on Randy Savage. No. Yeah, no, it was Randy Savage.
The WWF magazine?
I don't know if that was it or not. But there was a movie he was in where he had to wear some kind of glasses to see if people were aliens or not, and they didn't have skin.
Roddy Piper was in They Live.
They Live. Okay, so there was an article about They Live, and that is all I remember about this magazine because it showed a picture of one of the monster's face, and they didn't have like normal looking eyeballs.
Right, they were aliens. Yeah,
and it creeped me out as a 7-8-year-old, however old I was.
That movie has the greatest cinematic fight scene of all time.
Really? I watched it a couple of years ago. It was randomly on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and it said They Live, and it had that face that I remembered. I was like, oh, that's the movie that I'm from that magazine that creeped me out as a child. So then I watched it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's actually pretty good.
Was it a wrestling magazine, or was it a movie magazine?
No, it was a wrestling magazine.
Oh, wow.
There was a piece on it. So if you have that magazine, that's the magazine that has the one and only.
I was going to say, they pay homage to that, I would say, in Bart versus the Space Mutants, where you get the X-ray like glasses and you can see who's an alien.
That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, back in the day, I feel like getting the pay-per-view, because you had to, pay for it. You would watch your regular wrestling events, but when the pay-per-views came, you had to pay for it. So you went over to someone's house maybe chipped in and all watched it there and had a party. And I remember on weekends I would be at my dad's. Usually that's when the pay-per-view would happen. And my cousins, he lived at my cousin's house, so they would watch it in the living room. Sometimes I'd be able to go out and check what's happening on the pay-per-view.
I
Yeah,
remember.
we
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
I was
Go
going to
ahead.
mention Sting in the 80s looked totally different. He had like blonde, spiky hair and kind of like a neon paint job on his face and like maybe pink pants. I thought he looked so cool then. I never understood why he went to the Crow kind of look. It was like a totally shift in his ego or
Right.
persona.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, I remember. So my first, we used to watch all the pay-per-views in our house. The first pay-per-view that we ever ordered was the WrestleMania 3. This is the issue from May. It was May '87, promoting WrestleMania 3, and actually, really funny story. I found this at a where did I find this? I found this at a indoor flea market.
Nice.
Okay.
Yes, indoor flea market, not antique store. And in the back, check this out. How cool is this? There's a newspaper article.
Oh, that's so cool.
How crazy is that? It's like the newspaper article
That came out like the next day or something. Yeah.
But wait a minute. What's even cooler about this magazine, or this, what I got? Check this out. I didn't even see this until I got home and I opened it up. But inside, there's a newspaper clipping. All right. Here's the newspaper clipping.
That's crazy.
Does that look familiar to anybody?
It looks from the NES game, right?
Wow.
It is the NES game.
That is insanity.
Yeah. So this was just clipped in the whoever it was clipped it and put it in
with the magazine.
With this magazine.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So really cool to have that. But no, I remember we used to get all the pay-per-views. We used to have my dad's friends come over. We used to get 6-foot subs. We used to order 6-foot subs. And then during that time, the pay-per-views always had intermissions. So we would watch the pay-per-view, and then there'd be like a 15-20 minute intermission. We would go to the kitchen, get our subs,
Gotcha.
cut it up, and then go back to the wrestling. And we did that for years. And then you got the D-Scrambler box, and then you got all the pay-per-views for free.
Remember the D-Scrambler? Go down to the flea market. I need to get HBO and
right. And to this day, and Russ knows this, to this day, my dad, he comes over every month for the pay-per-view, so we still watch it together.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously growing up in the 80s, that was a big thing. Getting into Hulk Hogan, the main ones. I remember getting a Ultimate Warrior like plastic mask that you would, put on here, and then it came with like wristbands with tassels and stuff on it, so you could run around being that. But I also remember, I know Dave has a few of these. I never got to personally get one. I know my cousins had one, and I was totally jealous. But the Wrestling Buddies.
Yeah, I always wanted one too, because the commercial made it look so fun. It'd be cool if we could show the commercial. Is that a way?
Did you say that I have one?
Well, I know you have replica of
I have
ones,
like,
right?
Not wrestling, but I have like the Wrestling Buddies of like the Mario and the My Pet Monster, and actually back here there's like a My Pet Monster Wrestling Buddy right here.
Oh yeah, I see him.
That somebody one of the companies made. But I never actually had a wrestling buddy. I used to wrestle my Pet Monster all the time.
Wow, you didn't have a wrestling buddy. That seems like
that's what I did.
Yeah.
Here's the commercial if you guys are watching on YouTube here.
Introducing WWF Wrestling Buddies. Wrestling Buddies from Tonka. Awesome. Wrestling Buddies are looking for action.
Hey, fellas, what's going on?
Nothing, Dad.
Is that Pete and Pete?
Who do you think you are?
Oh, maybe.
Wrestling Buddies.
I think that was Pete and Pete.
Henry, what's going on up there?
Nothing, dear.
WWF Wrestling Buddies.
Like, that just made it look so fun, especially when he like elbowed the $1 Million Man.
Did that kid have a wrestling ring in his room?
Yeah, it was like the bed.
Like it.
He
I
had
felt like it
ropes
was,
and everything.
yeah, like in his, and then it was like the
Well, you know, they
mattress.
got to like really get you in the atmosphere, you know.
Yeah, Jared from Retro Gaming Pandemic has a sick collection of wrestling buddies.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely have to get one of those. I mean, if we're kind of gearing towards the toys and stuff, right? I couldn't get the wrestling buddies, but I did get the little action figures that came out, and those were awesome. I can't
they-
remember what size. What are they? 4-inch?
They had
Are
Maybe.
you
two
talking
different
these
ones.
ones here?
They had ones you could put your thumbs in,
Yes.
and then they
yes.
had these bigger, or like the hardest rubber you can possibly imagine.
I think
and they-
those are more 70s into very early 80s, right? They were taller and solid rubber.
You look like you could bounce them off the ground. Like, do you have
Right.
any of those guys, David? I loved those.
Which ones?
They're a bit taller, and they're
The
just
rubber
like-
ones, the big
they're-
rubber ones.
Yeah, those were so.
Yeah, you guys
cool.
talk. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I can't wait to see these. I just love. Like, I remember my friend TJ had those, and like,
Okay.
even though I wasn't a wrestling fan, something about the way they were sculpted and
Well, I was gonna say, what was the appeal? Because they were in a solid position, right? You couldn't move their
you
arms. or
couldn't
anything.
move them. I don't know. I mean, like, I guess my imagination was good, and it didn't
Yeah.
matter. And
They're just bigger and easier to smash
Something-
together.
something about them just seemed fun. I don't know, but those of all the wrestling figures that ever came out back in the day, those big, clunky, rubbery, bendy guys were the ones that I always wanted. Even though I wasn't really into wrestling, I still wanted one. I remember wanting.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I never owned one either.
That's them. I love that. I remember my friend TJ had that very guy with the stuff coming out of his mouth. Who is that?
George the Animal. Yeah,
George the Animal
the
Steel?
Steel. That's
Yeah,
his
okay.
tongue.
Yeah.
He had a green tongue, and he always came to the ring with a little plush. Was a monkey or something?
I have no idea. I don't remember that part,
Yeah.
but I remember.
And then
TJ
that's
having-
the junkyard dog.
Yeah, dude, love those guys. Love that rubbery. I don't even know.
Yeah, this is they're hefty.
You like you could bounce it out of like a 20-story building and it would just bounce.
Yeah, it has
Just
1986.
Chunk them. Yeah, that's so rad. I love
And I
those.
think LJN put those out, right?
It's LJN. Yes.
Yeah.
Laughing, joking, numbnuts right there. Bam.
Yeah, and if you're talking toys, I actually have something from my childhood that I think is pretty cool.
Excellent.
I have, and I still have the original box. It's a little like
No
torn
way.
up, but it's my Hulkamania dumbbell workout set.
Is that your original one?
Yes.
That is insanity.
So
And there's LJN
here's
on
my
it.
weights.
we need a
Mr.
workout
Workout.
video.
Wait a minute. There's the workout cassette
That
Oh,
is
that came with it?
insanity.
that came with it. And then actually, wait a minute, where is it?
I need a home
Fell-
video of
fell
David
over
using
here.
this.
Wait a
Like
minute. Yeah.
like
And then here's the best part, the
the Hulkster baby.
headband.
Wow.
So
Just
cool.
That's
throw
some
that
set.
baby on,
Yeah. You're ready to work out.
ready to go.
Got your sweatband on from your LJN workout
Yeah.
kit.
And then on the back,
Let's see.
it's got all the different kinds of sets you could have gotten. I
Jump
always
rope,
wanted
Hand
wanted
strengtheners,
look at that one.
the barbell.
Yeah.
The-
I don't think I have the workout poster.
Oh, okay. So it came with a poster too. You get the poster, the
Yeah.
stat, and
Is it like a calendar? It almost looks like a calendar.
No, it's a workout poster. It tells you like different workouts to do.
oh, like for each day.
Well, no, just in general.
Oh,
I mean, I
okay.
was
Make your
I
own
was
routine.
Russ, I was 7.
Perfect time to build muscle.
Discipline.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Get on a schedule.
But yeah, I would say I did collect the minier figures, like the 4-inch guys.
Yeah,
where
these
they-
ones, right?
Some of them would have different actions, like you could pull back their arm and punch. I just thought they were so cool, and they came with you can get the small wrestling ring to fight them
Oh yeah.
in there, and I thought that was just awesome.
Oh,
And they
it's
fit
Randy
so.
Savage so cool.
I know it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I recently heard? And
Oh.
David may know this, but
Yeah, what's
Randy Savage apparently played NFL football
I think that's
or
true.
he was a wrestler.
I think that's true.
Like that's crazy. Just he must have just been an athlete, you know?
Well, I mean, I think all the wrestlers are athletes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but could they also play like sports?
Well, Roman Reigns was a football player. The Rock was a football player.
Wasn't the refrigerator? What's his name?
Lawrence Taylor?
I don't know. Maybe I'm
I
getting
don't know.
confused. Maybe he was only a football player.
Well, actually, Lawrence Taylor, I say that because he had a match at WrestleMania. He played for the Giants back in the, what was it, the 90s? 80s, 90s?
I don't know. I just remember somebody was. I'm thinking of Sergeant Slaughter too because he was a GI Joe, but I think the refrigerator was a GI Joe as well.
And that's awesome too with the crossover there where you have
Right.
Sergeant Slaughter being, I watch him on wrestling, like, what? He's in G.I. Joe, and you get a G.I. Joe action figure of
in
him?
his own vehicle.
Right.
Like, that's so cool.
And then talk about crossovers. Jay was talking about movies. Hulk Hogan had his own movie called No Holds Barred. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
I don't remember it.
With Zeus. See if you could find a trailer for that one because that's a good one. So that one was it was a straight up wrestling movie. So he came in, he was a wrestler, and then they brought this big guy to kind of like take him on and everything. Did you find it?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's so good. We actually seen this at the movie theater when we were kids.
Awesome. 89.
Are you looking for a business?
I love this guy's voice. Wow.
Want to see something you don't see every day?
So 80s.
Oh yeah.
Are you
Oh.
looking for a whole new
Sears catalog.
Hulk Hogan is red. To the world, he's a hero. To this man,
This seems so intense. Just punching cinder blocks.
That's Debo.
Oh, is it?
That's
Nice.
funny.
no
Did Michael Bay film this? There's a lot of explosions.
no ring, no referee, no rules. Gentlemen, it's time. No holds barred.
It did always bother me though, like during their final match, that it was like an octagon ring and not like a real wrestling ring.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. No holds barred. I do remember his other movie he did, Suburban Commando, with that was more
with Christopher Lloyd.
comedy based action, I guess.
What's the one where he's like a nanny or something?
Mr. Nanny.
Mr. Nanny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually make a Suburban Commando Mr. Nanny like double DVD.
Double CD. That's
Yeah.
cool.
There we
Combo.
go.
Yeah. Did you guys play the any of the wrestling games growing up?
My buddy Mark had a bunch of them, so I know for a fact I played them at his house because I remember the music and the little dudes walking with their arms like that.
Do you remember which one?
Just that one with Hulk on it.
Oh, okay.
On the NES, yeah.
Yeah.
That was just WrestleMania.
Yeah, WrestleMania. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had a few of the characters in there.
And then I think we played some of the other ones like in the 90s, like NWO Revenge or whatever, like the 3D ones.
On like N64.
Yeah, because I remember always playing with the dude with the long hair.
Could be any of them.
Oh my god, I know.
Was it Diesel? Was it Diesel? Or Kevin
Maybe.
Nash?
Kevin Nash.
I was gonna say
it was
Kevin
always Kevin Nash. I played
Kevin
with.
Nash is Diesel.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, yeah,
The same
it's
guy.
Kevin Nash, but it's the same guy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
He played the Super Shredder in Turtles 2.
that's so funny.
Yeah, that's a fun Easter egg, yeah, because they needed someone bulky and large.
Yeah.
That works.
I will say I remember going to the movie theater and having the arcade at the movie theater and playing the arcade wrestling game. And that was awesome. Like that one really stood out. And I had wished that always had gotten ported to, some home
Yeah.
console.
Was that the Steel Cage one, or was it? Did they have
Trying to
Royal
think.
Rumble, or was it Steel Cage?
It might have been Royal Rumble.
Yeah, because they also make that Steel Cage one that's like a plug and play.
Oh, okay. Didn't know about that.
They do make one of those as a plug and play.
But
But yeah,
now,
those ones. The movie theater. I used to play that one all the time. They had the coolest graphics. They're
Right.
all like just like cartoony, but like super bulky.
right. And something
Yeah.
similar today, you can play Battlegrounds is the series with the newer
Yes.
wrestling
Yep.
games, and it's kind of got that arcade feel to it.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that one.
So who
Yeah.
was you guys' favorite '80s wrestler? Like if you had to pick one.
I mean, for me, it was Hulk Hogan. I mean,
Right. I think every kid had to choose. Like, he was just at
Yeah.
Hulkamania, like the Hulkamaniacs. Like, I think
will
all
say-
his stuff is so good.
Yeah, I think it went from Hulk Hogan. I mean, Brutus the Barber Beefcake was one of my favorites. I did have his poster, and then also Ultimate Warrior. I actually did meet my brother and I. We met Jim the Anvil Neidhart, part of the Hart Foundation. He's Bret Hart's brother, I believe, and then also we met him at a Blockbuster Video in our town, and he was signing autographs there.
Okay.
And he had the tag team title belt with him.
Nice.
And I remember being a little shy about it. I was, I'm 3 years younger than my brother. So as we like approached it, my brother, I remember distinctly, he was like, "There it is, Dave. Like, look at it. There's the belt." And I was like, oh man, I was in my element. It was
Yeah.
great.
I think
Excellent.
Rowdy Rodney Piper and I mean everybody loved Hulk. It's like
Yeah.
picking Wolverine on X-Men. But then like
Good analogy.
Yeah.
and then Randy Savage Macho Man. I think
Yeah.
those three were my favorite if I had to pick. So
Yeah. Nice.
No one's mentioned The Undertaker, right?
well that's moving into the '90s, right? I don't think he was an '80s icon.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, late '80s, early
Late
90s. Like,
80s.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, anyway, he's great. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Undertaker is awesome. But I think with the nostalgia, yeah, I think Jay hits the mark. It's a little bit more of '90s for me. And then he went through like the different characters of being the American badass, coming out to like Kid Rock, and then he went into he was what did he do? What was it? Dead Man Walking or something? I think I don't know. And then yeah, so he went through different.
Trying to go with the changes of time, like
Yeah, I think he should have stopped before. I think what happened for me, like I think he kind of lost a little bit towards the end. When he started, when he lost the streak. After he lost the streak, it was kind of like, okay, probably doesn't need to come back. And then he ended up losing again to like Roman Reigns, and I'm like, okay, let's not tarnish this legacy anymore, please.
Yeah. The other '90s guy I remember is Mankind with Sacco in the
That's
crazy
right.
looking mask.
So I just hung out with Mick Foley, with our friend, with Russ's Patreon, Joe Sheevy.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow, yeah.
Did you know about that, Russ?
Yeah, he was he was doing autograph, like Joe Sheevy certifies autographs and stuff. He comes out
Yes.
to some of the conventions.
So
he
I
works at
went
a company.
down. I was up in. Actually, this is a great segue for you. I was up in New York with Tom Bowman of Full Airs,
There you go.
and he was. Yep, there you go. Save 10% weekly war pipe. And and we were doing a con, and then he was going to hang out with his family that night, and I was just going to go back to my hotel. And Joe Sheevy, who also lives up there, he called me up. He said, "Hey, I got to do this autograph signing where he certifies autographs," and he's like, "It's Mick Foley, who's also Dude Love, Cactus Jack, Mankind, the three faces of Foley." So I said, "Okay, well, I can get dropped off there, and then you bring me back to my hotel after." And then yeah, we were just hanging out with Mick Foley there.
That's funny.
Nice.
And then here's Joe, doing some authentication, and you could see him, Mick Foley in the background there,
Yeah.
signing the autographs. So yeah, there he is.
That's so
He's the
funny.
man.
Sweet.
And he had Sacco.
Yeah, he was signing Sacco's. The funniest thing I saw him sign was he was signing Chef Boyardee cans
That's hilarious.
because I guess he did a commercial for Chef Boyardee
Oh,
one
okay.
time.
Wow.
So people were having him sign Chef Boyardee carton. It's great.
Hey, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
And
no,
then that was when Sting wore like the Crow stuff, like that kind
Yeah.
of era.
mhm.
And was that when The Rock was big, or was he in a different faction of wrestling?
Yeah, that was during the Attitude Era. And I remember there was one match between, actually, it was Mankind and The Rock. It was an I Quit match. I don't know if you guys remember this match. You could probably pull it up on YouTube, Russ.
Okay.
It's the I Quit match between Mankind and The Rock. And The Rock, like, this is when they used to actually use the chairs on the heads, right? Like, you can't you can't do headshots anymore. You just can't do it. So that's why you always see now they're always on the back or
Right.
they like shove it in their stomach. Dude, he probably gave him like 11 head shots to the like towards the end. So if you want to fast forward it, and it was like an I Quit.
I like this copyright thing where they just have The Rock versus Mankind over the entire
Right.
screen.
Oh
So
yeah,
you-
so this is the end of the match. So
a little bit
rewind it.
before.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. Right about you see the blood.
Oh yeah.
He's got the chair.
So he's just beating him with the steel
Yeah.
chair there.
So fast forward a little bit. Oh, here you go. Here you go.
Yeah, he's standing up. Now he's got his hands tied
Oh.
too,
He's got his hands tied behind his back.
straight to the head. 3.
Now
hits
wait
the
a
mat.
minute. Now fast forward it just a little bit until they're going up the ramp. Yeah. Okay, now watch this. This is the part.
So is the match over at this point? And
This is
The
at
Rock
the
is
end.
just
No,
talking?
this is towards the end of the match. This is basically what puts him out.
Oh, I got
So there's another headshot.
Jeez.
That's
Then
like
what they do is
5 or 6.
they give them like the only way to lose, you have to say I quit. Look at the
Oh, I
blood.
see.
Look at that. Like they
So
don't do
that's
that.
got to be like legit blood.
So that's legit blood. Wait, here comes another one.
And another one. He's trying to,
waiting
like-
for him to turn around.
Oh, I'm like, he's
Right
trying
on
to
the
back up,
head.
like hit me in the back, please.
Yeah.
You should have asked.
Here he comes
You
again.
should have asked Mick Foley about this.
Oh yeah, I should have. I actually did go to Mick Foley's retirement match.
Wow.
It was in Hartford, Connecticut. It was at No Way Out. I forgot what year it was. Maybe 2000, something like that. It was him and Triple H
Mhm.
in a Hell in a Cell. And they got out of the cell. They climbed to the top. Triple H throws him through the top of the cage. And when Mankind hits the mat, he actually went through the ring. So that was pretty cool.
Jeez. Now this is good segue here with growing up in the 80s, watching wrestling and even the 90s, right? We all thought it's real, right? This is really happening. They're really beefing, like getting those hits, because I've never went to a actual match to see them up close where apparently you could see how far away they're punching or whatever, but we're all under the impression this is really happening, or like it's like boxing or whatever, any professional sport.
Right.
So I'm not sure when that transition where we all just accept it, like it's just dude soap opera basically, like
I mean, I think it got to a point once, like, it got to a point for me where I feel like there was a shift of, it went from that, I don't know, it was kind of like, it just kind of happened where like, you could tell that they weren't really like selling it as much. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean?
right. And that's a term we always use. Like, are they selling the hit, or like you get hit? Does he fall like appropriately, or
Right. But then and then back in the the Attitude Era when they brought all the blood in and all that stuff, the language, the scantily clad women they brought in,
right?
there was
they're
all
trying
that
to be
stuff. Yeah.
being more almost R-rated and more.
Yeah.
That's why I guess it's called the Attitude Era, right?
Right.
More
So then it went to
edgy.
PG, and actually recently, this was just announced the other day. I don't know if you guys know this, but Raw is going to Netflix next year. So it's going to stream live on Netflix on Monday nights, and Triple H just said it's going to be uncensored. So
Wow.
if you hear "holy shit" chants in the crowd, it's not
Right.
going to be bleeped out or any of that stuff anymore.
That's
Interesting.
crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're going. So now Vince McMahon's gone.
Yeah.
Triple H, he's going back to kind of like not the Attitude Era, but like this is a new era that's going to be past PG. I don't know, maybe PG-13. Who knows?
Interesting. I'm gonna jump to our phone call because we got Kobe. I think maybe he left some stuff we can respond to.
Nice.
If you guys did want to call into the show, we have a phone number. It's 949-682-9277. That's 949-682-WARP. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the show. You tell us suggestions you want us to hear, comment about anything. Be a good time.
I keep dreaming about my dream phone.
It's for you.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Colby from Persian Forge Thrifting. I just want to say thanks for picking my topic with the wrestling. Just quick, I do not watch any current wrestling, so I don't watch TNA, I don't watch WWE, I don't watch AEW. I was a big wrestling fan back in high school, Attitude Era, which was roughly 1998 to 2001, so think Stone Cold Steve Austin, Undertaker, The Rock. I always thought that era of wrestling could not be matched. I thought there was some great stars that came out of it. Definitely was a huge wrestling fan then. Watched every pay-per-view, even when they were $20 back in the day. That was a lot of money. I had a part-time job in high school working at Subway, and back then I think minimum wage was maybe like $6 an hour. So spending $20 on a pay-per-view when you only worked 15 hours, 20 hours a week was a lot of money. But to me, it was worth it. I was always on the edge of my seat watching wrestling back then. And for me, it was just a lot of fun. It was really exciting. I know it was cheesy. It was like watching a soap opera, so to speak, but it was wasn't so much a WCW guy. I did watch ECW a little bit. I thought the product on WCW, especially after the whole NWO thing ended, was kind of garbage, and it's a big reason why they went under. ECW, the Extreme Championship Wrestling, I liked that. Used to watch that, I believe, on TNN on Friday nights. They had that. It was only an hour long, but it was really edgy as well, and it was awesome to see some of those guys come into the WWF and come work for them. I never called it the WWE just because that's not what I watched. I probably
That's right.
stopped watching wrestling in 2002, right around the time they lost that lawsuit with the World Wildlife Foundation and had to switch their name to World Wrestling Entertainment, but I loved it. I would say that my favorite wrestlers back then, obviously The Undertaker had to be one of them, Kane. I love Cactus Jack, Mankind, but I think my underrated guy that I always loved, and I loved his gimmick, was Gangrel. Gangrel was this vampire-style warrior. He originated the Brood, which was him, Edge, and Christian, and it was just really fun. He spit blood from a goblet, and he had arguably the best ring entrance of any wrestler I've ever seen when he would come in a ring of fire up from the floor. So those are just a few thoughts, comments I had about wrestling. Keep up the good work, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers. Thanks.
Sweet. Thanks, Kobe. Thanks. Yeah, some good insight.
I gotta give
Gangrel was sick. Gangrel was awesome.
I gotta give a shout out to Ron Mower because he loves ECW, and if you ever watch any of his live streams, at some point you will hear him sing or say ECW.
Yeah, I will say I never got into any of the other wrestling stuff other than WWF. Maybe I just didn't know when it was on or what, but
I mean, it was so remember WCW during that time they did the Monday Night Wars went on. I don't know if you guys know about that.
No.
So the Monday Night Wars was like basically like Raw like WWE versus WCW, and
like they played at the same time, you mean?
Yeah, so it was like a big war of like who's getting the ratings, and then there was a big like like invasion of each brand, and then
Okay.
it like pinnacled where like Shane McMahon shows
Mhm.
up on WCW and like takes over WCW, and then it ended up being like Shane versus Vince, and like there was this whole thing, and then the time that DX invaded WCW, oh man, like it those were some times, man.
For sure.
That was some really, really good times.
So the only time I ever got into wrestling enough to where I watched it, there was a short, like 6 to 8 month period where I was hanging out with a certain group of friends. This was probably 98, maybe 99. And I don't even know what the abbreviation was, but the wrestler that I chose as my favorite was Diamond Dallas Page. And I got so into it that they actually had a wrestling tournament in Greenville, and he was going to be there. And it was the one and only wrestling event I ever been to live in my entire life. And I had a DDP Diamond Cutter shirt where he's like got this blue. I don't even remember, but that was the only time. And I would go to this guy named Michael Shepard's house because he would rent it.
Okay.
I guess we'd all throw $5 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a couple pay-per-views at his house, and that was like the shortest lived moment of my life where I was a wrestling fan.
Nice. And right during that like peak wrestling time, during the Attitude Era, during like that late '90s war.
Yeah,
it's
For
great.
sure. Yeah.
Me and Russ went to.
I was gonna say, good segue.
Yeah, let's talk about that. First off, nice hat, Russ. I noticed that hat you're wearing.
Oh, someone gave it to me for that picked it up.
I did. I found that at a local flea market, and I was like, I don't, because did you have a New Day hat?
Yeah, it just had a unicorn, I think, on it.
What is New Day for us that don't know?
It's a wrestling trio.
Okay, I had no idea.
And they also have a YouTube channel called Up Up Down Down.
Oh,
where they play video games.
That's where that comes in.
Yeah,
yes, I am the champion.
Dave has the belt.
Nice. That's fun.
Well, so fun, quick backstory to that. So it's Xavier Woods, Biggie, and
Kofi Kingston.
Kofi Kingston is the New Day, and they were actually at Retro World Expo.
That's right.
Last year, they came on Saturday because they were wrestling, I think, in Rhode Island or something, like either 2 nights from it. I think for Monday Night Raw. So
I think it was Springfield because we were really close to Massachusetts.
Right.
So they went up and wrestled that night, and then they came back the next day.
And I was at my buddy Tom Ryan had a booth there who sells pins and art and stuff, and we were just hanging out. And then I see walk by, I'm like, is that Kofi Kingston? And like they said they're gonna come back to the show the next day. So they came back, and I actually got photos of them around my Mario Kart car, and they did a video. We chatted. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna show my son. So that was cool. I got to meet them and take some photos. So I'll try to pull those up at some point. But prior to all this, me and Dave did go out to something called Access.
Yeah, WWE Access. It was in Brooklyn. It was for WrestleMania. Was it 35?
Yeah, I'm not even sure.
Maybe. It was the year that no, it had to be after that. No, it had to be after that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, there we are. That's at so basically Access is an event that takes place the weekend of WrestleMania, and WrestleMania was happening in Brooklyn. So what they would do is they would sell tickets, and then you would go and it'd just be all this memorabilia, and like you could meet some of the wrestlers and all this stuff, and just really, I mean, Russ has never been to like a live event,
right?
So like, what was your take on going to this?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like a Comic-Con, but for wrestling, right?
Nice.
You get all these fans there. You get the opportunity to meet some of the wrestlers, and you get to see all this cool, either props from shows or
right. So click on that car right there.
Picture opportunities to take.
So this is a car that was on one of the Raw or SmackDown episodes that Braun Strowman, the wrestler, had smashed on TV.
Nice.
So then you get to see it in person.
I gotta
Yeah.
ask because I'm curious and I don't know anything about this, but what are bootios? Because it looked hilarious.
They are a cereal.
So there's the wrestlers, the New Day. So they had bootios and they had pancakes. They would come out with, I don't know why all these food items, but you could get these at like FYE. They're just like
It's all part
Cheerios.
of the storylines.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
And
they
then,
had these.
yeah, if you get down there, go ahead, click on that. So that's like the old entrance ramp from one of the TV shows back in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
So they brought it back, and then you could like take pictures of the walk-in and stuff.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
So it's a lot of like, fan oriented, there's so much nostalgia.
A lot
in
of
there.
lore.
Oh my God. And then they had this whole, I think those are figures that are coming. Yeah, those are like the new figures. So like there's Jeff Hardy. There's a new Macho Man figure.
Right. So they're
Um,
made to look like the
Like
retro
Kevin
80
Nash in the
figures.
background.
Yeah, right
Who
here.
is that?
Yeah, it's Kevin Nash. Diesel.
Or is that
right
The
there.
Undertaker?
Diesel.
Oh, it
yeah,
does say
okay.
Diesel. It does say Diesel, yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool
And
to see
then-
that. And we got some photos and autographs with some of the wrestlers as well.
And if you scroll down a little bit more, they had like a whole museum. So right about here, Pat, go down a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, click
Oh,
on
yeah.
like one of these rows. So they would have all of this memorabilia. So there's Brutus the Barber Beefcake's cutting shears that he would have on TV, and right next to it is like his pants that he had and the title belts.
So, do you guys remember the story from Pixel Game Squad? I think they were in Arkansas with Retro Rick,
Okay.
and they got to some guy's house somehow, some way. I don't know. And they got to talking about some wrestling tournament that actually happened in Greenville, South Carolina. And some wrestler, I don't remember who it was, but they left their wrestling drawers, underwear basically, in the room, and they just like snatched them up. And because they had left them there. And so now I think Aaron or Rick or somebody now owns these
Underwear of a
these
wrestler.
underwear of a wrestler, and I think Aaron said he either did or would put them on. I don't know.
But did they ever find out who it was?
They did. I'm just not remembering the story
Oh,
very
okay.
well. So it was a famous wrestler though, and they have his
That's
basically
funny.
have his
Oh,
jock.
there's Kevin Owens. That's when he
Okay.
told Russ for me not to lose my shit.
Because he had left his camera. And everything on there.
So no, what had happened was we were getting autographs, and that's Rhino. You might remember him from like the 90s. And then there's Russ with Rhino, and then where's Piper. So that's Piper. She's actually on TV now. So she was in NXT at the time, and now she's up on the main roster. And she actually just fought for the title at the last pay-per-view.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so Kevin Owens was there, and they were starting to close up that area, and then they were calling us all over. He was calling us over, so we went and got autographs, and everything was in such a hurry. Like he had signed something for me, I forgot to pick it up or something, and then we were walking away, and Kevin Owens yells to Russ, he's like, "Russ, tell David not to lose any of his shit." And then there's Sami Zayn and Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
Are these like real people?
Yeah.
These are so Sami
Okay.
Zayn is the current Intercontinental Champion. And Alexa Bliss is, I mean, she's Alexa Bliss. I mean,
I don't
if
know
you don't
them.
know Alexa Bliss,
There's a Bowling for Soup song
Come
about
on.
her. Come on.
that's
Really?
right. There is. Yeah. That's Humberto. So he is in the WWE now. As well as these guys. That's Imperium. They actually just split as a tag team. But
Okay.
Ludwig, the guy that's on the left there in the white shirt, he's on TV every single week. And then go to the picture that's right before it.
The Bootios.
No,
After it.
maybe after it. That's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat
Oh,
from
wow.
the 80s. So do you remember him?
I remember the name. I don't remember the face.
So he fought Macho Man in that. It's like one of the greatest intercontinental title matches ever.
What's funny is when we were there to do photos, I took a photo with Alexa Bliss, and they were telling me because I had my glasses, and they're like, "Chin down, this, da, da, da," and they took a photo, and then I stepped aside, and I guess it was glaring, so they're like, "You got to go back and do the photo again." So like, I'm like, "I am back," and like we take the photo, and I'm like just cheesing and like so red because I was like embarrassed.
Where's that picture? I want to see that picture again.
I know. I don't know if I could dig it out fast enough with some of those photos. I'll see if I can pull them up.
Is Alexa
but-
Bliss just known for being like attractive?
Alexa Bliss is actually married to Ryan Cabrera,
Oh, that guy. That's hilarious.
the singer. Is that his
Yeah,
name? Ryan Cabrera.
he dated Ashley Simpson for a hot minute.
Yes,
in like
yes.
the 2000s.
Yeah, I could see that. You know, Alexa Bliss is kind of similar looking,
Probably shorter.
right? Shorter. Yeah. There is rumor that she is coming back as part of the new Wyatt 6.
Okay.
I mean, that's getting into the modern stuff. I mean, here's my Bray Wyatt. I got my Bray Wyatt shirt.
Yeah,
And if there is anybody modern that is watching, I have my Uncle Howdy mask.
he looks.
I mean, if you know, you know.
It looks like V for Vendetta to me.
It does. It does. But this is, I mean, we won't get into all the modern stuff, but
well, I'll jump into
I'm very excited about where wrestling is going right now.
We'll see if anyone has comments on that. I'll jump over to our social medias and see what people are leaving some comments on there.
What did you say? What did you say?
Springfield, let's hear from you.
All right, we'll jump over to
see what Springfield's got to say.
Springfield's got to say on our community page on YouTube. What do we got? D. Castro. I religiously watched WWF back in the 80s and 90s. Remember watching Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, and many other greats from them. I also remember playing WWF WrestleMania for the NES with my brothers and friends.
Yeah.
Retro Island Boy. I used to be a huge wrestling fan in the 80s and 90s. Bret Hart, Undertaker, Ric Flair, Sting, Goldberg.
Oh, I forgot about Goldberg.
Macho Man, Raven, and DDP.
DDP.
We got Andy from the 90s are rad. My favorite wrestler was Sting, and we would also watch WCW mainly. Wrestling was pretty big in the house back in the day. My dad was also really good friends with Bam Bam Bigelow, which was dope.
Wow.
That's hilarious. That's cool. That's
great.
rad, one might say.
We got Steve V's Man Cave Arcade. I'm a huge wrestling fan. Been watching wrestling since I was 9. Grew up in the Attitude Era, 97. Watching wrestlers, like Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, Mankind, and WWE, F at the time, and Hollywood Hogan, NWO, Goldberg, DDP, Ric Flair, and WCW. Kane was my first favorite wrestler. The whole story of him being Undertaker's half-brother, surviving a fire, and having to cover most of his body from the burns captured my imagination as a kid. WWF No Mercy for the N64 was my favorite wrestling game of all time. Can't count how many hours I put into that game. WWF Royal Rumble was another favorite of mine for the SNES. Wrestling is still something I enjoy watching weekly. This year specifically has been amazing and really kept my wrestling fandom going. I'm actually going to a wrestling show called Money in the Bank next weekend.
Yeah. You coming over us?
Pay-per-view. Maybe we'll see.
Pay-per-view. It's on a Saturday.
We got J. Rit. On specific memory I have is when Lex Luthor defeated Hogan, NWO at the time, for the heavyweight title. My brother and I went nuts.
Did you say Luther?
Lex Luthor. Oh, I think I said Luther. Luger.
Not
Sorry.
Superman.
Lex Luger. Yeah, it's not
Hold on,
Superman's. Yeah.
Blast. Then Kobe chimed in again. Awesome. Thanks for picking my suggestion, guys. Can't wait to weigh in. And Riffer City Ransom.
My buddy.
Been a wrestling fan since Hogan turned heel back in 96. I used to always flip back and forth between the two shows on Monday nights. My parents would make me go to bed at 10 p.m., but Raw would go off at 11 p.m. I used to always put a blanket underneath the door to shield the light as I
Me
watched
too.
Raw on my 12-inch
Sounds like
TV.
me watching The Simpsons.
I know. Also, Here Comes the Pain is the best wrestling game of all time.
There's no argument there about that.
I don't think I ever played that one. Here Comes the Pain.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We're gonna give
I have two questions. I have two questions about that comment.
Okay.
That's not Aaron, is it?
That's Jordan Baxley.
I mean, it is a
My
pretty clever name
hometown
for
friend.
River, because he is a River City Ransom guy too. So
He is, and like I totally thought that was the reason why. And I need to clear Jordan's name. It's not because he's a huge Aaron Stapish fan, but he is a guitar player. So riff, like a guitar riff.
Right.
That's where
And he's
comes
just
from.
a River City. Right. Great.
He has a YouTube channel. Check him out.
So one of the comments had mentioned when WWF went to WWE. I don't know if you guys were watching any wrestling at that time, but
I remember the T-shirts.
Do you remember what the T-shirt said?
Get the F out.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
That's like great marketing.
Yeah, it's such good marketing. And then there was also when the internet came out, and then they had WWE. I think it was it WWE.com, WWF.com. It must have been WWF.com at the time. And I think it was just like download this or something. I don't know. But like the Get the F Out was probably the best marketing they've ever done.
For sure. All right, let's see. We got, I think there was one on Instagram. Rose City Retro says 4th of July watching the Undertaker versus the Undertaker match. Broke my brain.
Yeah. I don't really have much memory of that. I mean, I remember it existing and happening, but I don't have memory of watching it.
Okay.
You know what they used to do is, do you guys know the pay-per-view Survivor Series?
Right, I heard of that one.
So that used to happen every single year on Thanksgiving.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So we used to watch it on Thanksgiving every year.
Let's see. And then we got our Facebook page we could share on there. And let's see. We got a few comments on there. Aaron says
all the socials.
Gotta post everywhere. Also, side note, Jay, are you hitting mute when you're coughing? Because I just hear you coughing throughout this.
Oh, sorry. I thought I've been hitting mute. Is it
nope?
not working?
I've heard it all.
Oh, dang, my bad. I've hit mute every single time, thinking I was golden.
So
we all know my computer sucks, so that's why my camera keeps going out and saying it's unplugged, even though it's clearly plugged into an outlet. Who knows?
Blast.
My apologies for all the coughs.
All right, Aaron says, I remember watching WrestleMania 4 at my cousin's house on pay-per-view. Only my uncle was too cheap to pay for the pay-per-view, so the whole family was huddled around the TV watching and listening to a scrambled WrestleMania. Luckily, Gorilla, Moonson, and Jesse Ventura were great announcers, so we knew what was going on. Just couldn't see it. That's wild. Oh my God. Yeah. Just watching, just basically listening to a baseball game or anything.
Yeah, right.
We got Matthew Durkin says, I started watching wrestling when I was 7 years old, WrestleMania 6. Thanks to my grandmother, who absolutely loved the sport and used to buy all the pay-per-view events. Go grandma. Growing up, Bret Hart was my absolute favorite wrestler, but the amount of talent from when I started watching until the end of the Attitude Era, when I stopped watching, was unbelievable. I tried getting back into it a few times since then, but it just doesn't pull me in like it used to. One thing I really wish I still had so I could put up in my game room are my old wrestling buddies. I had Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, and Big Boss Man. They look awesome up at shelf. Yeah, the wrestling buddies are cool there. And we got.
I will say, if he had like 4 of them.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4.
I mean, I felt like wrestling buddies were like one of those like pricey things to have. So
right,
good for him for having that many.
Kind of like a one and done, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Pick your favorite and you wrestle him forever.
That's
or in my case, you just wrestle my pet monster.
Right. And we got Michael Chapman chiming in, said Eddie Guerrero and the Ultimate Warrior were my favorite wrestlers I used to watch. WWF when it was the Attitude Era, maybe a little bit before. So again, I feel like
let me make a comment about that. So his wrestler was Eddie Guerrero. Now, I recently watched a Eddie Guerrero documentary. Um, A&E does these documentaries on all of these wrestlers. They're all individual episodes. And I watched the Eddie Guerrero one, and I'm going to say this. As a kid, like, you know who, like, the great wrestlers are, right? There's the wrestlers that you're really a big fan of because of, you know, either what they do in the ring or the drama, the storylines, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I never fully appreciated Eddie Guerrero until I saw that documentary.
Okay.
And then looking back on it, I was like, man, he was like, yeah, as a kid, like, I didn't really fully appreciate everything he was doing. And maybe it's because he was such a good heel that, like, he was such a good bad guy that he wanted you to hate him. So you couldn't really
Exactly.
appreciate the work. As a kid, you're like, oh, he's just a jerk, you know? And so
Mhm.
you don't really like invest your time in. So, but like now as an adult, like looking back on his career and looking at what he did and how it just like transcended everything. Man, I wish I was like more into him like when I was a kid.
For sure. And then yeah, if you're into wrestling and everything, they got the network, and I believe we had like a free trial or something. So I had watched
Mhm.
a few things, and they have a great series where they have the wrestlers tell a story, and
Yeah.
they have someone animate that story. So it's like cartoon,
Oh, that's
Oh,
hilarious.
interesting. Yeah.
and it's like hilarious hearing. The
Is that
stories
on
that come out.
do they still have that on the on Peacock?
I think so. Yeah, because it was
I'll have to
on
look that up.
whatever the wrestling channel was on there.
Because now there's no WWE network anymore. So
That's what I was going to say.
WWE
If they're going to Netflix, they must have lost the deal with Peacock, I guess, then, or something.
No, it's a deal with, so it's just Raw going
Oh,
to
one show.
Netflix. And then I think SmackDown's being moved over to another channel. But no, everything else is like, so the pay-per-views they stream on Peacock. So there's
Right.
no more, like, if you have a subscription to Peacock, you can watch the pay-per-views. There's no more
Paying for the just that one.
right. So now they don't call it, Jay, you might not like this. They don't call it pay-per-views anymore.
What do they call it?
PLEs.
PLEs.
What does that stand for?
Sounds like please.
Paid
Please let
long
me watch
content.
it stands for oh man, I just had it now. Premium live events.
Oh yeah.
So that's what they call it now. They don't call it pay-per-view because you're not paying per
Paying
view
for the
anymore.
view.
Please.
Now it's like, please watch us.
Please watch us, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fine.
Yeah, again, I think most with the listeners, everyone probably watched from 80s to that.
You okay, Jay?
I'm trying not to cough into the mic since clearly muting it doesn't work anymore.
It just falls over. Yeah, everyone watched 80s up to the 90s here, and I do feel like I fell out after that for quite some time, and then hanging out with Dave, he kind of invited me over for a bunch of the pay-per-view, so he kind of fills me in on the stories and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I would say that I did fall out for a while. I mean, there's so many like good stories. Like an hour is not a long enough time to talk about this because I could go on for forever about all the nostalgia and memories that wrestling has. There was one time, I mean, Russ knows this. I don't know if Jay knows this, but my dad just retired. And my dad has worked, he owned a deli, right? Or not a deli, but like a grocery store,
Mhm.
mom and pop shop. He was the butcher for 57 years. And and I used to work there as a kid, right? One day when I was there, a wrestler came into the store. His name was SD Jones. He wasn't like a regular, like he's not like one of the faces, but he, if you look him up, like he was on pretty often. But like I was too young to kind of really know who he was and everything. But he
Okay.
was just hanging out in the meat department with my dad, and he had like a little stack of photos, and so he signed an autograph for us and everything. And but that was wild because then years later, I like really like looked him up, and when there was no internet then, so like I didn't know who he was. And I don't think I watched enough. I don't know. I never remembered him being on TV or anything like that. But yeah, crazy.
Nice. Yeah.
That's
Cool
awesome.
opportunity.
Yeah. But Jay, have you ever been to a live event?
Yeah, in Greenville. With
Oh, just that
DDP.
one though. You
Just
said,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Only one I've ever went to because, like I said, it was a very short-lived thing where I was going and watching pay-per-views at this guy's house, and
Yeah.
I kind of got into it and picked DDP as my favorite wrestler, but it was very short-lived. It probably like less than a year that I was kind of into it.
Was it a WCW event?
Dude, I couldn't even
You don't
tell
remember?
you. Yeah, I mean,
And Russ, Russ, you never been to one either, right?
No, I had tickets to go to one, and then something else turned up, so I couldn't go. So never had the opportunity. I do feel like I would rather go to something less big, like a Monday Night Raw, maybe a Money in the Bank, but like watching WrestleMania and SummerSlam, like
Oh,
on the
forget it. I'm
at
not
you,
going to
like
those.
they're so massive. I'm like, you're not going to get that full story that I'm just seeing on the TV, where you get the promos, you can easily hear and
Right.
see. Where you're at the event, you're 100 yards from the ring, and you're going to have to watch it on a big screen TV above you, anyways, because you can't see in the ring.
So we did go to the No Way Out pay-per-view back in like the early 2000s, and we had good seats. So it was I think it was at the Hartford Civic Center. We were kind of like halfway up, but the view that we had was facing the Titantron where the wrestlers would come out. So we had a view of the ring and then the ramp behind it. So we kind of saw everything from that angle.
Okay.
But the weird thing about going to those live events is there's no commentary.
Right. So you're out of the loop.
Yeah, so you can't hear any of the chatter or anything like that. So you're literally just watching and what's even more wild is when you used to go to the events, before they would show like in clip, like during the commercials, now they show kind of like, continued action. But like sometimes during commercials, like the wrestlers would just stop wrestling.
And like just stand in the ring.
Yeah, and then just wait for the commercials to come back.
Like, why waste energy?
Right.
That's funny.
But the cool thing about some of the live events is like they would have what's called dark matches.
Okay.
Where after the live event, like the Raw or the SmackDown is over, they would have like a few other matches right afterwards as like, the dark matches. And then nowadays those would get written about online and things like that. Oh, these two fought on the dark matches or whatever. Yeah, my first event was back when we were little kids. My dad took us to the New Haven Coliseum, and I think the main event was, I want to say it was Hogan and Andre.
Oh yeah.
I'm not 100% certain, but I remember seeing Hogan as a kid, and we were in like the nosebleeds, but whatever, man. Like I still have like pictures from way, 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 way back there where you can't really see them. But yeah, that was my first live. That was at the New Haven Coliseum, and we went to go see, and I remember seeing Hogan. So that wasn't like a televised event. That was just one of those like house shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, certainly a lot of good memories around wrestling, and people are still into it now. I kind of watch it here and there. It's definitely gone a different direction, but the classic 80s and all that.
I know you guys can't see me, but can you still hear me?
We can hear you.
Is that John Cena? Is that you?
So I looked it up and I found the exact date that I was there.
Okay.
It was WCW Monday Night Nitro.
Oh, okay.
September 14th, 1998.
Russ, can we look this up?
Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, like the
there's got to be a Wikipedia page about this.
Oh, just like what do you I'm looking up
so
matches.
look up Monday Night Nitro. And then what was the date?
September 14th, 1998.
98. Okay. So you were what, a junior in high school?
Yeah, I was sophomore.
Sophomore.
Yeah, I would have been beginning of my 11th grade year.
So
No. It would have been the beginning of my senior year. Sorry.
No, it was the beginning of your junior year.
No, senior. I graduated in 99, so I would have graduated the next fall.
Oh, right. I graduated in 98.
All right, so we got some single matches. Yeah.
So this is the actual event that
That I was at.
Jay. How did you find the date?
I knew it had to be in '98, and I knew it had Diamond Dallas Page, and I was pretty sure he won something.
Are there pictures from it?
Yeah, right here. Look, Greenville,
Get
South
out.
Carolina.
So yeah, I was there somewhere.
Wow, look at that. Oh, I see Jay. Go back. Go back.
You saw me. You caught me.
Nice.
That's cool, man. So you have there's a page that you can go see all this.
Yeah. So I don't remember much about it except that Diamond Dallas Page was there and that he won something. I think.
There's Ric Flair.
Yeah, Ric Flair was there.
Wait, so why is Ric Flair like in a suit and crying? Was he retiring?
I made him cry. Kicked him in the nuts.
Wait a minute. What? Go to the matches. Is this like listed that did he like retire or something? Anything about Ric Flair there?
Yeah, it doesn't break it. The ring announcers, commentators. Oh no.
Yeah,
Doesn't say
Goldberg
anything
versus
about why
Sting.
Ric Flair was there. No,
Weird.
But-
We'll have
but
to
it-
look that up.
but it happened. Cool event.
So where's Diamond Dallas Page? Is there a picture of him?
I guess he won War Games, whatever that means.
Wait a minute. War Games.
Does that know? Is that my?
Scroll
Yeah,
up to
'cause
the
it's-
matches.
Goldberg and Sting were the main
Goldberg and
event.
Sting.
Lex Luger, Scott Hall.
Oh, he didn't have a match then.
Well, why is it mentioning him here in this article below it?
There's a group of people in suits here. Is he in that? No,
I don't see him.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe that's not.
Maybe that wasn't the event then.
Oh man, I thought I saw Jay in the crowd though.
Christ.
That must
I
have just
dig
been
it.
John Cena.
He looks so similar.
Anything
Well,
else you want to say to
you're-
wrap this up?
Jay, your homework is to find out what event that was because I really want to know.
I wonder if it was May 24th, '99.
Oh, is that another Greenville?
Yeah, Nitro, WCW
let's try.
Nitro.
So it was when you were in high school.
Yeah, it was. I was in high school. Yeah.
All right, look that one up and then we'll call it.
Let's see.
I want to
Yeah.
know. I want to know what happened to
Nitro. What is it? The
May
date?
what?
May 24th, '99. That seems a little late.
Hey, May
Maybe-
24th. That's my wedding anniversary.
There you go. Maybe that's the one I was at. All I know is Diamond Dallas Page was there for sure, but I don't feel like it was a Monday. I feel like it was.
It didn't have to be a Monday, no. Anything with DDP there?
Ric Flair, Booker T,
Chris
Bam Bam
Benoit.
Bigelow, Diamond Dallas Page, and
That
Ric
might have
Flair.
that may have been it then.
And
They
Roddy
def-
Piper?
Defeated Chris Bennett, Dean.
Benoit.
Benoit.
That's Chris Benoit.
French, Francais.
Come on, you know about Chris Benoit.
So that may have
Everybody
been
knows.
it. That may have been the one I was at then.
Everybody
Oh,
knows
look,
what happened
look,
with Chris Benoit.
NWO Hogan's there.
On crutches. Nice.
I love how these pictures are microscopic.
Right. Probably taken with a Polaroid.
Well, you know, 2 megapixels at the time.
Right, right. Well, I know that's Bam Bam Bigelow from the back.
Yes, that's definitely Bam Bam.
The purple suit.
There's Hogan. Hey, this was a WWE event?
I don't know. I barely remember it.
Who's that on the mic?
That's me.
Like this? Like performing?
Yeah, who is that?
I no clue. I don't know. Some
Is
DJ.
is that Chavo Guerrero?
That's Vanilla Ice.
We didn't even talk
There's
about
Ric-
like
Ric Flair.
bands coming out, right? For entrances.
Anyway,
Yeah,
it's high.
live bands
It's
perform.
it's very likely that was the.
So
that
wait a
was the
minute.
event.
So scroll down real quick on that list. So Jay, that single event, you saw Roddy Piper, Chris Benoit, DDP. Go back to that list. Wait, I want to look at this list because that's an
close it
impressive.
out.
That is an impressive list that you saw.
May or may not. He doesn't even.
We don't
fully remember.
even know. We don't even know if that's the one that I saw, but it's highly likely because DDP was there.
I mean, if that was your one event, retire now.
Yeah,
There
well, I
you go.
did. Never went back.
One and done.
One
One
and
and
done.
Sweet wrestling. Love it. The nostalgia.
That's right.
Go on for days.
Yeah.
We
so
didn't even talk about when I went to go visit WWE.
That's right, because we have in Connecticut the headquarters.
It's in Connecticut. Yeah, I had a bride who used to work there, and she invited me and our friend Eric Schrader, who Jay, you just learned about, did the Weird Paul documentary.
Yeah.
Me and him went to take a tour of the WWE headquarters several years ago, and that place is crazy.
Yeah, it's out in Stamford, right?
Stamford, Connecticut. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Weird Paul. That's all I have to say about that whole conversation.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, hey, if you guys want to check out other episodes and everything, you can hit up theweeklywarpipe.com. We got new episodes every Saturday. We got quick shout out to our Patreons. We got Dan and Nicole's Treasures Untold, Joe Sheevy, Trace Livingood, Samantha Chang, Rodney Torres, Richardholic 16, Austin Mills, and David Apuzzo.
And David Apuzzo.
Head over to Patreon.com.
but I don't pay enough to get listed on the podcast.
But you're still here. You're on screen. Even better.
Even better.
I'm live.
And you've been to mine and Russ's house.
If you want to support the Jay gets a new Russ gets a new
Well,
computer so he can
if
send
you want to support Jay gets a used computer.
Jay gets Russ's computer.
Which would still be freaking amazing.
I got that Patreon update today.
Right. So head over to Patreon/Russ Lyman to do so.
So Russ is buying a house. Russ is buying a new computer. What else is there?
Baby food.
Baby food.
And diapers.
A lot of diapers.
Well, appreciate you guys listen. Thanks for jumping in the warp pipe with us. And we'll catch you on the next level.